are looking stunning, ravishing.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
VPR, I'm telling you, when we get back in studio, the vibes and just the colorful outfits that I'm going to be bringing y'all, I'm telling you, the energy is going to be, there's so much going on I want to put you guys in tune with. So,
I can't wait.
Of course. And I got to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Please, people.
That's a fact.
During the live stream.
I don't know why people act like they don't know that we do this every single week and they'll call. I always look at my phone like real suspect.
Yeah, what are we doing? It's like out of every day for you to call me, you just gonna choose.
And out of every, any moment of the day, you choose 2 p.m. But we're here. I'm super excited about today's show because you know how I feel about sharing financial literacy and helping to expand the knowledge, especially with our communities of color. I feel like we've been indoctrinated to have this broke kind of mindset.
Oh, man.
And it's just something that carries on. People feel like they can't. You hear a lot of "I can't" come from people. Oh, I can't do that. I can't afford that. I can't do this. I can't do that. But when you actually put your mind to it, this sounds so cliche. You actually can. When you prioritize the things that you're paying for in your life, you realize how you're wasting a lot of money and how you could put that to the side, how that could become an investment, how you could take $50 and maybe purchase a fractional share even of a large stock and help, secure your financial security and the security of that for your children, because that's the element that's missing in having an established level of generational wealth. And I applaud. I know your family, I'm sure, is different. People that come over from the Caribbean islands and stuff, there's a different mindset, and they establish that. But like American-born people of color, a lot of Blacks and Hispanics, we're not usually taught that. I could tell you firsthand, I wasn't taught anything about investing or getting even a life insurance policy.
Just to be honest with you, and just to keep it like that, I didn't get as much into stocks in the last 3 to 4 years of my life. It was always around. It was always an idea. But to wrap my mind around it, I always did the same thing. The same excuse I get from other people, like, oh, that's too much, just that and the third. And
Me too.
And I don't blame them. Knowledge was the thing that was withheld before. Some people had to go to school for this. Some people had to go through different avenues to get this private information. But then here comes the internet. You know what I mean? So
it's true.
It's all there. It's just, how you allocate the hours and the minutes in your day if you want to find out that set information, because you can't tell me something's going to make me a lifetime of money and I'm just going to ignore it because, I'm not into this. You know what I'm saying?
And there's this, I learned investing years ago, just investing in a 401k plan through a previous employer. And I didn't want to just give them my money. Like I wanted to know where it was going. So I actually researched the companies and stuff and I got interested. But I was investing, $10,000, $20,000 over time. So when I reapproached investing again, that was my mindset. I was like, oh, I don't have $10,000 to open up a portfolio right now. I can't really do nothing. What am I going to do with $100? Actually, you could do a lot with $100 in the market, especially when you learn about corporations, including with crypto, and learning how to allocate. So I really want to thank Jason Swanston, the creator of the Black Investor Stock Group, because he was the one that was like, Qiana, don't make excuses. Just get a stash account and buy some fractional shares. Because I was like, I only got $100, Jason. What could I do with $100 right now? Nothing. He was like, get some fractional shares. I said, oh. Okay. And just from that portion, I just started, I just kept going and building. And then I was like, all right, I got to get out of stash and now take this more seriously. And I started allocating more money and I started saying, ooh, should I buy these shoes? No, I'm going to get 10 shares of New York Mortgage Trust.
Thank you. Almost like, let me invest that same money before I go and buy a pair of sneakers. I'm like, before I go do that, let me go get a share in that sneaker company. Let me go look up some more information about that, where it's coming from. Let me invest in that. Because it's sitting there, you feel great buying that Coach bag or Michael Kors bag. But when you got money in the stocks and you see that your money is increasing because other people are spending theirs, it's a different kind of energy that you approach that bag with. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. When you see those dividends ring in, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I got some money just from owning these shares, And
I think crypto really opened the door for a lot of new people that didn't know too much about stocks, and which they're completely different, but they can go hand in hand if you know how to leverage them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think a lot of people have been educated about that with social media recently, with the Dogecoin, with the Shiba coin, with the with how Elon Musk is affecting the market, and that's another subject that we got to tap into.
Let's do it.
One man could affect the cryptocurrency market. That should say enough. No one person should do that, because Elon could say one thing one day, and then you know what I'm saying, we're down here. So that's why I try to watch my power.
There we go. Because I feel like those are the riskiest types of investments, when they move with the crowd, or they move with one particular set of people, or even, you know, there's this new term of retail investors, right? Which is just like the regular Joe Schmo that's using his Robinhood account or whatever. But you can go so far with it. And when it comes to those riskier stocks and those riskier plays, I may put a little something on it. You know what I mean? Just a little something on it.
A little something to forget about. And that's how you do it.
I'm going to put a little something on it. And then I'm going to just see where it goes. And if you are an investor, you already know you should never invest more than you're willing to share. If I put $100 or $20 or whatever somewhere, I say, okay, that may come, it may go. So if it flips 5 ways, I'm okay with that. You know, and I'm also okay with pulling out before I become so emotionally tied to things.
Yeah.
Like the way that AMC and GameStop, like I've had AMC, I've sold out of AMC at a profit. I've gone back in. I have a very, 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 very low accumulation of AMC, and I can hold it, and it can go wherever, and I don't really care one way or another. But people are putting their life savings in things, and I'm like, if you're not looking at the fundamentals of the company and actually understanding what's happening, and you're just that FOMO, that fear of missing out, that's a real thing. FOMO, YOLO. There's so many new terms.
I know people that got at least like 15,000 tied up in AMC, and they're like, "Yo, bro, please." And you know, every stock has its point of hitting, and if you study the market enough, it's not exact, but you can watch the trends. That's what I'll say. Just pay attention. I agree when it comes to that, and what affects the stock.
And don't be afraid to stop your losses. Like stop the madness. If you see it just tanking. Pull out. You're better not to sell at a loss. So if you've gotten it at a low amount and it's going up, it's skyrocketing, set a number where you're like, okay, if it hits $100, if it hits $90, I'm happy with that. And because it can just go from $90 back to $40 in a heartbeat. And depending on what you paid, you might, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket, man. You got to be careful.
And guys, VPR, for all the listeners that tune in, the best thing you can do when it comes to stocks, you have to, I call it charging it to the game. You've been investing in yourself your whole life, right? You know what I mean? Certain things didn't pan out, relationships didn't pan out. Same thing with certain stocks. But what you have to do is, at least the best advice I could give you, learn how to reward yourself. So even though you're hitting on certain stocks, take out $20 or $30 because you're teaching yourself, all right, at least I'm going to enjoy the little game that I had and leave in some. That's very big, so you're not overspending, you're not overreaching, and you're blowing your whole count. So that's one thing.
When people always ask, and we get this a lot in the group, and again, you know, this is a personal decision. So anything you're doing in regards to finances, you have to make that final decision. So you should take everybody's advice with a grain of salt. But I often encourage people, if you've already profited and it's still going, pull out your initial investment, right? So now you're playing with the house. If you want to take some profits, take some profits. But bear in mind, depending on how much money you're pulling and stuff, you're still going to have to pay those capital gains taxes. So if you haven't had that asset for more than a year, you're going to be in the higher category. And some people are paying higher taxes than they have gotten gains just because they're pulling out so much and doing so many plays. They're being, you know, positioned as a pattern day trader. They don't even know what these things are. They're just selling the same asset, buying it back, selling it back, buying it back in the same day. And you're like, listen, you got to be careful.
You got to
do your research.
You really do.
Yeah.
And since we talking about all this money in the air, and I know it's just, I can only think Kanye and Kim Kardashian, and I bring up that money fact because I'm like, they're going to have to get a divorce at some point. And Kanye out with a new girl, and I respect it.
Are they already? I think they've already filed for divorce.
They already filed. All right. Well, I'm seeing him with his new girlfriend. I'm like, I hear you, Ye. Out the door with a model. Live your best life, my brother. Now, I'm thinking about Kim Kardashian's the way she views it now. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to come right out the relationship and say you already had a relationship with this person while you still dating?
Right.
I'm thinking about all of that, thinking about how she's viewing it, because keeping her brand proper. You know what I'm saying? With the Kim Kardashian brand, the Kardashian brand in general.
That brand is solid though. Like that Kardashian Jenner empire, the people that are the full-fledged fans, they live for all the drama anyway. So they're there for it. They're like, can we get another season of your show so that we could see you cry about this? You know what I mean? Like they're there for it.
In my mind, I'm just like, all right, where could you go after Kim Kardashian? What were you looking for after that? And you know what I mean? Where can you go after Kanye? Which is, you know what I'm saying? At that point, when you're
why do you feel like those are the heights of people?
No, you know what I mean. You gotta ask that.
Land?
After, you don't feel like after a relationship, you ask, okay, where do I go from here? Because I feel like if I'm elevating what I'm doing, you know, the person across from me has to at least try and maybe resemble that. So,
well, I think after a long marriage, and you know, I'm sorry, but Kanye has not looked happy in a long time. I feel like he probably just needs a mental break. You know what I mean? And I feel like most people, after you're leaving a relationship, especially if it's a long-term one, you need some time to catch yourself. You need some time to reevaluate you, because a lot of times we lose ourselves in a relationship, right? And you may not even know who you are anymore without that person as an individual. So I do feel like some time needs to be taken. You know, live your best life or whatever, but jumping out of a marriage into a relationship, jumping out of a relationship into a relationship, just never a smart idea in my book. But some people need that. They're habitual relationship seekers.
But, you know, and at a point, you lose yourself in seeing all of that, because you're going relationship to relationship. You're not allowing yourself to grow. So that's what I'm saying. I sat back and I was just viewing that situation. I'm just like, if I was Kim Kardashian and I got to view this after I have this much kids with you, that's something to bear with. It's different when you could go through something with somebody. Hold on. If now, you hear this?
No.
It's VPR. It's
New York.
Yeah, I got it now. We got to close the window because New York don't know how to pipe down.
They don't know how to act.
But yeah, VPR, we are here. Make sure you share the link. Also, like all of the podcast episodes, because those numbers really count. Share them to your friends, and like the playlist that we have on Spotify, because we're always
and we have such great artists and such amazing music, always adding new artists and new music to the playlist. I'm excited behind it. I really think we need to drop some mixtapes, FMI.
Oh, no, definitely.
To be honest with you.
With the next drop that we're going to do, we're going to put out the Mike Geronimo interview that we had live.
Yeah, man.
So I definitely can't wait to get that to you guys on YouTube, so you can be checking for that in the next upcoming week right here.
Yeah, that was a great legendary interview. Shout out to the whole YMVS team. We appreciate y'all. So dope.
Yeah, and the thing that shocked me and what I love about the interview, because I've been watching it, editing it, guys.
Yeah.
The fact of his morals and what he stood for. He's like, hey, my kids are great, and my weed strand is selling in California, and my house is paid for. I'm great. You know what I'm saying? Along those lines. And
he had so much gratitude, and that was actually a word that he used. And you know, I love when people say gratitude, because I'm all about the gratitude. Yeah. I was like, yes, you got it. Like, you get it. You know what I'm saying? It's just so different.
And to span all the years of what his career and what he's doing, that's the beauty of hip hop that I like, and that we could concentrate here on VPR. You know what I mean? Of course, we can give you the most negative stories, but we try to keep it upbeat, because there's so much negativity in the world already. But
that's right. We come here to shed some light, not some darkness. You know, pull away those layers.
We have to. We give you a part of our soul. But I know you're not the biggest boxing fan, but did you see what happened this weekend? The money that was made this weekend?
I didn't. Well, I know it was like $10 million just in endorsements on some shorts, right? Or am I lowballing?
Fashion Nova, this, that, and the third. My thing is, right, I can't sit across here, VPR, and lie to you and say I'm the biggest boxing fan or anything like that.
I used to be, though, but boxing is like wrestling now. It's just not real, bro.
Yeah, you telling the truth.
It's just not real, bro. Like back in Shannon Brigg days, you know what I mean? Like original Mayweather.
Wrestlers is real too. They be slamming on that back. I don't know about your back.
I mean, look, no, I don't want to do what they do. I'll be broken.
I love wrestling to this day.
They're acrobats.
They can act. But
they're kudos.
you got to give them the roses. But the thing is with this Mayweather fight, and I think it was Jake Paul or Logan Paul, one of the brothers. I'm not the biggest but for them to do an exhibition where no one is gonna lose, that's one thing. Shorten rounds, that's another thing. But to have the greatest boxer, we can say hands down, even if you don't like the man, the greatest boxer to touch the sport, and this guy that's been fighting for maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years now, has the opportunity, and he's never stepped a foot inside of like a professional ring.
Wow.
A lot of people are rubbed the wrong way. You know what I mean? You got kids that's grown up to fight their whole lives to get to that point to fight a Mayweather or someone.
I agree.
They can't get that light.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So this brings it back to all the episodes that we've been having if you've been tuning in. Clout is now even, it went from the entertainment industry to now the ring, to the point where I feel like if we keep going down this line, we're going to put somebody in this ring that actually fights a boxer or a said boxer, and they're going to get beat really bad. And then they're going to be like, let's stop throwing random Joe Schmoes in with these trained fighters. You know what I mean? So it's just...
Listen, know your boundaries. You know what I mean? Know what you're skilled at and what you're not skilled at. But a lot of...
He held it down, though, Kiana. Mayweather was holding him up. The guy, Mayweather was holding him up like, don't fall, bro. I'm trying to get this bag. I can't get this bag if I kill you on camera, my brother. Like,
oh, my God.
He was really holding him up, but...
What a farce. What?
30 million. Like 30 million on just Mayweather's end alone. I'm just like, that is respectable amount of money.
I hope that that's a very respectable amount of money. I hope that Mayweather is putting all of those tax breaks into effect that, Warren Buffett and Trump and all of them know how to utilize. And I hope that he's not getting gimmicked by management and all the people that are around him, because we know so often, but your boxing is a real money game, like cash in hand. So there's a lot of money that's literally just being given sacks and sacks of cash, and a lot of that goes wee out the window. So.
When you gotta pay for after the bell rings, that's when you start paying for it.
That's a fact.
But yeah, so just this clout culture that we still have now, and me just watching it go to that point where you could do that. I'm getting to a point where I'm like, VPR, what we got to do to get this clout?
Do anything.
All right, because it's getting real crazy out here. It's breaking my spirit. I ain't knocking them. Young man, get your money. But at the same time, we gotta watch where we're going with this.
I agree. Somebody's gonna want it, but you know what? You signed up for it. I'm sure they have the disclaimer. You can't sue. You'll have to go through arbitration or whatever the case is. But is money worth risking your life? I don't know.
For certain people, it is. Like hip hop alone, it's a money sport. We show it all. We show it all the time. We rap about it. We sing about it. You know what I mean? We
being a hip hop artist has become a life risk in itself. You know what I'm saying? And you've said that before, FMI. Like,
let's tap into it, because there's the J. Coles and the Big Seans that are out here rocking out their concert and having great shows, and they're not worried about shots getting run off.
True.
Now, you know what I mean? And there's also the gangbanging rappers that, move a little bit different.
True that.
Stuff happens.
Thank you, Ron.
You know what I mean? What are we talking about? And that's
what are we talking about? Right.
Mm-hmm. It's hypocritical. And I feel like sometimes we're afraid to face the fire of what we're actually saying, doing, and what we're telling the world that we're doing. You know what I mean?
The law of attraction, baby. You keep talking about it, you're going to bring that right to you. Keep talking about murder, death, kill. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think that two of hip hop greats and, my top, dead or alive, Biggie Smalls, both had the same exact concept. Biggie's first album was called Ready to Die.
And how old was he at that point?
19.
So that means.
And then Pac, what did Pac have tatted on him? Live fast, die young.
And die young, by Roddy Ricch. You said that, and Amazon started playing the song, but I gotta stop that.
Oh, is that what it was? By Roddy Ricch. I was like, did I say that, or
that was hilarious?
Is that Alexa?
Yeah. But yeah,
mind your damn business, Alexa. That's what we're trying to say. I'm tired of y'all, you and Siri. Okay. I'm sorry. What was that? I wasn't talking to you.
If you don't get out of the living room now, but nah, it's And sometimes I'm watching so many artists that's going through certain troubles, you know what I mean? From NBA Youngboy to Pooh Shiesty. And then that, you know what I mean? You're in a club and his song is saying, I don't need no security. I got my firearm in the club. And legit, he got arrested for having his firearm in the club. Now, it comes to a certain point where we got to be like, are we responsible for the things we're saying? And we're doing it, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference of a mass shooting and some 10 people getting shot at a club for like from a gang, you know what I'm saying? It's still a mass shooting. It's targeted, but it's still. I've been saying that we got to really look into that sometimes. We really got to look.
Unfortunately, it's treated differently, though, right? And that's where society and how we're depicted really pulls up. So I think it's even more imperative now for us to be intentional with what we say and what we do, because we are at risk more than ever, and. You know, we've had our forefathers and our ancestors before us. They made so many great sacrifices for us to be able to have the freedoms to do what we do. Like, think about before hip hop was even hip hop, right? Think about before Motown and when Black artists couldn't even be featured on the radio, you know? So we've come so far. Do we constantly want to depict killing one another? And, you know, this bitch, that hoe, like, at what point does it end and we actually respect where we are and start saying, okay, it's time for us to be more positive and uplifting to each other and own some things. Let's own the radio stations. Let's get back to that ownership so that we can set the narrative instead of people saying, well, positivity doesn't sell. So what we want you to do is twerk it like this and drop it. You know how you do. Drop it like it's hot. We'll sign this $1 million contract. How much are you really signing away? Your dignity.
And that's the time that we're in now, where unsigned artists have a choice where they don't have to go that label route. You know what I mean? So you can have those creative choices with your craft. Because at a certain point, the certain artists that pop off very quickly and they can't have a follow-up hit and whatever the case may be, you could be those, or you could be the ones like J. Cole that have been dropping consistently for, I would say 6, 7 years, 8 years, and hasn't had a misstep.
Longer than that, because it was 2010 when he first came out on Blueprint 3.
Oh, so
yeah. He's got a solid 11 years in the game. Yep, that was the record. And right after that, I think like maybe a few months later, he dropped his album. So he had that co-sign from Jay-Z and that, you know, he took off and he hasn't stopped running. So.
And it ties it back to just the different type of rats that they are. You know what I mean? There's the Rakims, there's the Jay-Z's, there's the Gucci Man.
You got us with the KRS-One though.
On
Facebook the other day, I was like, what?
So VPR weekly now. Now I'm just completely listening to 90s and 80s music, rediscovering it. Before when I'm DJing, I'm playing the records and I'm spending time in it and I'm mixing them. But when you're sitting there and you're just enjoying the music, it's a different vibe. And that's what I'm sitting here trying to tell y'all. So next time y'all listen to these records, roll up the windows, sit there and listen to what they were saying. At least people in my generation. Listen to what they were saying, and it is dope. You can see so much of the inspiration that most of these songs that we have on the radio just come from. You know what I mean? And it still blows my mind to this day. You know what I mean? Juicy Fruit. Like that song. You remember when I first told you, like 2 years, it was going on 2 years now. But I didn't know that sample came from that. You couldn't tell me that was Biggie.
Right.
And you can't blame me for it. I'm gonna go back. I was in the Caribbean household, but I'm here.
Because that's Juicy is even before my time. You know what I mean? But just growing up in that time frame, so many people were throwing it back. So you knew.
Let's talk about that time frame.
You know what I'm saying?
Before we have our guests come in, I want to talk about that time frame, Qiana. So at least people a liking for what happened in your past. You know what I mean? At least explain that era of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, first of all, I was born in 1979. So that's just, I think it was 77 when hip hop was actually officially launched. So I was right there in the heart of when it was coming to fruition. So KRS-One and Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, like Run DMC, LL Cool J. Okay.
Yo, you always kept this energy. I love it.
Shirtless on stage. With his big rope chain and his Kango. But nonetheless, these are the images you don't forget. And Prince. I mean, the 80s was such an iconic time for music as a whole, I feel. Madonna was pushing the envelope for pop. You know, she had a lot of people up in arms. Hip hop was pushing the envelope. You know, when Run DMC collaborated to do Walk This Way, and they put elements of rock together with hip hop. There were so many doors that were kicked down, and that's why I appreciate the culture for what it is. And yeah, I feel away when I see some of these younger people really disrespecting our culture.
I feel away.
We haven't even been around 100 years. Like, you know what I mean? Pay homage to those before you, and don't think that you got it on lock, because we still don't even own this. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real.
You know what I mean?
Have your business right.
All of the legacy acts that can still rock a crowd, even the ones that can't perform, is to see that your record can be played 20, 25 years later.
Yep.
And it's affecting the new generation, that they're taking essence from that. That speaks for itself. You know what I mean? I just found out the other day, you know the song with Diddy that he released for Biggie when he passed away, Missing You?
Yes. That was a sting.
Yeah, I knew it was Sting.
The Police.
I just found out the business behind that. Just because Diddy wanted to release it in a timely manner for Biggie, he gave away 100% of the rights to Sting. And I'm just like, that's crazy. But he did it for the culture and for his man. It was bigger than the movie. So he's like, I just need the record out here. Take the full earnings. You know, this record is.
I can dig that.
Yeah, and when I found that out, those are the stories in hip hop that I feel like we have to cherish. You know what I mean? Say anything you want about Diddy now, business-wise, or whatever the case may be. But without that song, without his influence of what they did together as a duo, at least for the East Coast.
Him,
it was just.
That was an epic song.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
But with Tupac, like, it was what a time to be alive to see Tupac on one side and Biggie on another. You know what I mean? Completely.
Or how about to see Tupac and Biggie on the same stage? Like, I lived through all of that. I lived through when they were friends and when they became enemies. It was a crazy time. But
how real it is. I remember when 86 came home crying because he found out that they died, and I was young. So I was like trying to understand it. Yeah. And when he said that, and it affected him.
Yeah.
That was like his musical icon next to Michael Jackson, and how that influenced what we do here right now.
What you do now, exactly.
Speaking about hip hop with you guys on VPR, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. So,
I'm super psyched. We have Mr. Thompson in the building. He is the CEO of TG Capital Partners. So this man, if you guys did not see my Instagram post and our Instagram post on VPR, just go and check for the receipts on all of his credentials, because I want you guys to know that this man has the experience and the professionalism behind him. He built this platform called HighNet Academy, which is a live, engaging learning environment where you can learn about real estate, business, and investing. And we're super happy to have him here. So let me bring him up to the stage. Welcome, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, how's everything?
Everything is great. We're so excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, it's definitely a pleasure. So I really want to just jump right into it.
Sure.
Can you tell us about who you are, how long you've been in the financial world, and what you do?
Okay. Well, I mean, thanks for the introduction, and I saw the post that you put on. You know, it was really good. One thing I do want to correct: I'm not a financial advisor anymore. Okay, so you got to be careful with titles, and I don't want anybody coming for me. So I noticed that was like in the title of the.
True that.
So, but yeah, I do have a company called TG Capital Partners. I'm the managing partner for that. We do capital acquisition and advisory. And that's basically raising money for businesses. And then we also do consult with them. But it's been a passion of mine to always work with people, you know, the individual and the consumer, though most of my business was business to business. And so HighNet Academy was a way to do that, going back to my roots where I used to be a stockbroker and working in banking, and also real estate, and teaching people how to invest in the market, invest in real estate, and also how to start businesses and teach them business strategy, kind of like a masterclass. So that was the birth of HighNet Academy, specifically for our people, because we were the most disenfranchised and the ones who were taken advantage of the most, even by those who call themselves our own, will still use us for the sake of their capital gain, not necessarily teaching real knowledge. So that's where we stand. Other than that, I'm a father of three. engaged, getting married in September, and that's about it. That's all I got for now. Oh, my birthday is Saturday. I'm turning 40, so.
Oh, a lot of big things happening on.
Yeah, a lot of big things.
Congratulations.
No,
Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah. What a wealth of information. So tell me how you actually got started in finances. Was this something that was a passion from the time that you were younger? Did you start interning somewhere? Like what happened exactly?
Okay, I got into finance out of rebellion, and I actually love music, and I play music and produce music, and I wanted to go to school for film composition. And I got a full scholarship to go to Albany to do film composing. But coming from a Caribbean background, you have three options. You either become a doctor, lawyer, engineer. And my mom, she would refuse to sign the paperwork for me to go to school. And I ended up in New York City Tech to study telecommunications engineering. I dropped out the first year. I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm 18 now. I don't have to do this. And I literally walked out in the middle of a class. We were talking about, the cave theory, which was really boring. That teacher he just looked at me. He knew I wasn't coming back. And I I just walked out and I grabbed a newspaper that said, I was like, I need a job because if I'm not in school, I got to make some money. And I saw an ad that said, become a Wall Street stockbroker and be a millionaire. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to do something I don't love, I might as well become a millionaire. So I called the number.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm loving that energy.
I called the number, and 2 weeks later, I'm like in Bethpage, Long Island. It's like a boiler room situation. You've ever seen the movie Boiler Room? One big floor, a bunch of people just yelling on the phone, and you don't know what's going on. There's a big board. It's really high energy. And the guy is telling me like, well, what do you know about this world? I'm like, I don't know. I took an economics class in high school. That's all I got. And he was like, well, this is what we do. It's all about selling. Do you have that charm? Do you have that charisma? Do you think you can sell? I'm like, if I'm taught, I can do it. Sure. And then, he showed me the board of numbers. It's like the commissions, right? And so top guy was $3 million. And I'm like, wow, this is June, right? So he's like, I'm like, this guy made $3 million for the year? He's like, no, this is the board per month. This is what he made so far for the month. We're like,
wow.
So I'm like, oh yeah, you sign me up, like,
right.
$2 million for the month, and that was really interesting. It was a good time because you learn a lot from that environment. Like the guy who trained us, he was a part of I don't know if you know who Jordan Belfort is. If that name rings a bell, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Right. So the guy who trained us trained with Jordan Belfort, and he basically taught us how he sold, like his selling style. And a lot of what we did was just like really, it was it was unethical. It wasn't illegal. This is pre, 2000, 2001. This is like 99, 2000, right? And, so this is pre 9/11 where they implemented the Patriot Act. And then that changed everything. So before that time, in the world of finance, you got away with a lot of sketchy stuff. Like, as long as you weren't just like churning, which is like excessive trading, they didn't care, too much about what you were doing, but they did start to crack down a little bit. So he taught us how to sell and train. And, I realized I had a knack for it. One, because I was taking 2 trains and a bus and a cab to get to work one way, and back the other. Waking up 4 o'clock in the morning to be at work for 7:30, so I paid my dues. Like I didn't just like, fall into it and just took a little online course and then said, hey, this is what it is. Like I really was like there, really paying my due. We were only paid $200 a week as a trainee. All that went into my travel. I literally netted $10 after I paid all my expenses from the cab, the bus, and everything like that. And I didn't even have enough for lunch.
You were already investing into
I was investing in myself. It was like, this is the best thing I can do. But I saw what it was, and everybody there was young. My manager was 22. The oldest guy, who was the senior manager of the desk, he was 26. The guy who trained us, he was retiring that year. He was 27. These guys were making 10, 15 million a year.
Retiring that year. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, it's a different world. It's a whole different environment. But, I realized I was good. I didn't want to get sent home because if you're late, you get sent home. And if you're also late, you have to, do what they call the mark call. Like, you basically walk in, you're the last guy in the training. The trainer, you have to keep him on the line, like pretending it's a sales call for 1 minute. If he says click, you got to go home. And I was like, I'm not going home. So I got good. And we also had to make like 500 calls a day, right? A day, 500 calls. and we had to get information from these investors who, their social security number, how much money they have in the market. I mean, we basically knew everything about them. Their blood type, how many kids, you name it. We needed, that's a
you got to really sweet talk them. Yeah.
You had to be a smooth talker, and you needed 5 qualified leads, for the day. If you wanted to sit, because we had to do it standing, you need 20. And I was like, I'm coming this far. I need to sit down. So let's just say I was sitting by 10 o'clock. I got good. I was the only one sitting down. I didn't care, but that was like my introduction into it. But I realized it was an on-tap passion, and I fell in love with it from there, and that was it. It was just like next level for me. Then from there was just the progression into the other things that I did. Yeah, but that was rebellion that got me into this.
That is an amazing story. Wow.
No, thanks.
We all need to rebel and be so great, right?
Sometimes you have to, yeah.
It was like you rebelled and held yourself accountable. I love how you went and grabbed the newspaper and said, all right, I got to figure this out if I'm not doing this. And when you said the Caribbean parents, I understood that.
You understand. You said Caribbean parents. I was like, I heard you. Like, oh, yeah.
I was like, all right. So I definitely got that. Now, with all of this years going on with COVID and everything, how has that affected your business and what, how have you moved? And
oh, man. Well, TG Capital, I mean, we lost like 95 maybe % of our business because of COVID. And it wasn't because people weren't going to work. It was because the government was giving away money. And we find money. That's what we do. So how can I convince you to take my money when the government is basically giving away money interest-free and forgiving it? Like it's literally was like 1%. So we couldn't compete with that. So this is what made me say, you know what, let me take the time to maybe reinvent things. Believe it or not, last year I was doing this, creating these courses, and at the same time I used my network of people that I knew, and I was actually selling PPEs myself. I did quite well last year, did extremely well. That business was phenomenal. Like I'm not even gonna I was making more money than I made in the stock market, like daily. Right. In that business. It was insane. But that's just a knowledge of business that you have, right? You can kind of basically just adapt to, as long as you understand the fundamentals of things. That's the whole idea here, right? I didn't even love PPEs. I had no idea what a PPE was, and then I found out, okay.
I think most of us didn't until
COVID. Exactly. And now it's common knowledge for, I guess, everyone.
Right. Exactly. And I wasn't selling to consumers. Again, I went back to what I knew, selling to businesses because B2B. They buy needs. That's one of the most important things we have to think about even when forming a business. It's great to tap consumers, but they're fickle. They like you today, or they like you right now and hate you the next minute. And but with a business, they buy what they need. They need insurance, they need this, they need that, because that's a business. It's a business need. So once I tapped into the business and I was able to make that connect, that was great. But I did take the time to start the HighNet Academy classes and really start to develop the concept, think about what it is that I wanted to do. I took some other people's courses to see what they were doing, paid their ridiculous fees, and realized what was missing. It was a few things. The rudiments, which is just basically the fundamentals, were not there. They were teaching people options trading, which is very difficult. But it's like trying to teach somebody how to park a semi truck and you've never driven before. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like it's an accident waiting to happen. Like,
I agree, because it can be very very risky as well.
Exactly, it's extremely risky. If you know anything about that, it's like, and you guys were just talking about it earlier.
I know.
And telling people, well, just apply great risk management. What does that mean? Like, they don't know what that means, and they don't know exactly how to do that. People don't even qualify for like a level 3, 4, 5 options trading.
Right.
Apply those proper risk management where you won't risk as much. If you're not even a level 3 options trader, then forget about it. You're not even going to really protect yourself properly.
Right.
So, little things like that, they matter.
Little things that are the big things.
The big things, absolutely.
So let me ask you, now I feel like since COVID has hit, social media has taken stocks and everybody doing classes now, and everybody's on Instagram trying to do this, join my class. How do you feel about all of that? Because I know there's like there's some people are scamming with that. Some people are doing it. How do you feel about this community and new knowledge of everyone trying to do stocks and saying they know this and know that?
It's a bittersweet. It's like, the bitter part, like you said, there's a lot of people scamming and I say scamming. I want to say like they don't know that they're really just doing it for the courses, right? They're charging a high fee. They probably have a lot of followers on social media, and they figure, listen, if I get like 5% of my social media followers to sign up, I can make a lot of money. One guy I know, he has 1 million followers. He charges $5,000 for his course. There's about maybe 2,000 people when I checked out his course. In that course at 5,000, that's $10 million he made for that course. He didn't make that from the market. He made that 10 million just from selling his course. So he didn't need his whole, followers to sign up. He just needed a portion. So
now, what's the turnaround though? I would love to know of the followers that signed up.
He started his courses.
Did they turn into millionaires?
Right. Well, he has, out of all those people, I think one person was able to be successful enough to become a millionaire herself.
Right.
And she actually started to branch off and do her own things and figured out strategies that worked for her. So it still didn't really come from his course, even though he kind of praised her for it. It was like she did it herself.
Right. She used it as a catalyst.
She used it as a catalyst to learn more.
2,000 students?
Out of 2,000 students. Right.
He was getting paid though.
But he was getting paid, and he's there in private jets and McLarens and and you name it, big estates. And it's like, well, I'm making my money from the market. No, you're not. You're making your money from selling courses.
And it's funny. I feel like we used to see these same commercials on CW or online. Like, you should be here. It reminds me of something like the college experience. Get a
infomercial.
You can get here too. Look at this car. How about this car from this? You go on YouTube. It's the same thing. Like, what's going on?
You said that because this guy, apparently he became a protege of this guy, Ty, what's his name? Ty, Jesus Christ, I forgot this guy's name. He was also pretty popular for that back in the day too, but people caught on to him, so he became like his protege, and he taught him basically his strategy and say, hey, who's your market? Well, I have this community of people who trust me, so he basically just did the same scam to them, and he just taught him the scam. And that's all it was. It was just like the same. So that was the bitter part. The sweet part was I was happy to see people interested in it. Like it's like finally, okay, people are understanding. Like you need to really set that path for yourself. I'm going on 8 years as an entrepreneur, never having to have anyone write me my check but my own, right? And that's something that is to be praised, but it's also like something to caution, because you're like, don't get it twisted. I am not like, saying that I was just living great. Like, no, there were moments where I had ramen noodles and only ramen noodles, and that was it, and I was in the curled up in the little ball thinking like, what did I do to myself? Like, I got kids, I got a life.
Right.
Like, why did I do this? I should have just stayed.
It's no easy feat. Yeah. Because the job is a steady paycheck. I think that's what a lot of people don't see. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, you don't see the work and everything behind the scenes. You just see, the finished product. You see the success. And I think that COVID was definitely a wake-up call, especially for people that lost their jobs or, were unemployed for a short amount of time. They realize I have to have a backup income. I have to have some sort of savings accumulated because anything can happen at any given time. And often it's too late. So to delve further into FMI's question, since he was asking about what you feel about, these different entrepreneurs, tell us how you've been able to differentiate your course from the other ones that we see so much online, because like you said, you did your due diligence, you went and did their course and said, okay, what's missing? You did your market analytics.
I purchased it for you guys, so you don't have to spend $5,000 to see that it was nothing. Yeah, absolutely. But other than doing that, and of course to get the research, one of the most important thing was I realized that these courses were too large, or there was not enough connection. Everybody was doing self-study. It was this, hey, you buy my, you go to Kajabi or you go to Udemy and you download my course, and that's all it really was, right? So they just did pre-recorded webinars or whatever it might be, set it and forget it, and that's what they were selling. So people thought that, okay, I'm going to learn something here, but then it's like, no, there's 8 videos pre-recorded, 45 minutes each, and this guy is teaching you about X, Y, and Z, and that's it. And you're out of money, like you bought it. It is what it is. So if you're studying this and if it's self-study and you have a question, there is no question. There's nobody there to answer your question.
You better Google it.
You gotta Google it. So then you're still doing your own research, right? You're still teaching yourself at that point, and you just, you're just out of money for no reason. And then the other part, other than there were some who did the webinars, but they were large. I'm talking about 200 or 500 people, on these large Zoom calls. And I'm just like, there's no way you can learn like this. This is impossible. People are making noise. They can't mute everybody. People are playing music on the radio. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right?
Sounds like New York City.
Yeah.
trying to learn in public school. People throwing spitballs.
Right. People throwing spitballs and airplanes. This guy's trying to pick up somebody over here. People trying to get private. People forget it's not a private chat and you can read what's going on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And one person in particular, I bought her course. And I'm not gonna name names, but not a lot of her. So you probably already know who I'm talking about, Qiana. I bought her one of her classes, and I went on that call. It was 200 people on that call, and she was trying to teach technical analysis and trading options through tech. Well, she was trying to apply technical analysis to options
trading options, right?
Told people to take these 3 prerequisite classes, which were, I mean, again, if you don't have any foundation, it doesn't mean anything. And now she's, doing paper trading and showing what could be hypothetical scenarios on Thinkswim. And, here's what this would look like. Here's what that would look like. And you can make this money. You can make that money. And this is great and all this stuff. And then this was supposed to be like an hour. 3 hours later, she finished the class and the chat is lighting up. And she's like, why are you guys talking in the chat room? What's going on? And someone was like, we're really lost. We don't know what's going on.
Nobody understands anything.
We have no idea what you were talking about, and we're just hoping that we can connect, outside of this. And there were, so I told my fiance, I was like, sign up for the study group. I want to see how many people actually signed up for this. There was 100 people in the study group. The next day, they're like, did you guys understand anything she was saying? Like, no. And then they were trying to figure it out together, and maybe they can kind of, and that part was just like, okay. So
now the blind is leading the blind.
The blind is leading the blind. They have no idea what's going on, and the chances of success of a group like that, come on, that's not going to happen. So the differentiating factor had to be a more affordable course, a course that will give you a little bit more attention and live. This is where I stood out from most. It's like when you sign up for the course, it's like school, it's like college. You get a course syllabus, it's 4 weeks long. It's not learning something in 1 hour or 1 day or just a video. You're there with 10 to 15 people max in a classroom setting, online, of course. You're gonna have your course syllabus, there's course material, there's a dictionary. I mean, you're following along with the slides. You're there, you're engaging, you can ask questions, the Q&A portion. If you're not, if you're not sure about something, I'm there in that course teaching you the course, or whoever else might be instructing that course. It's not pre-recorded by any means.
I love that. I think that's tremendous, because I'm sure being at home, whether it's working from home or, I've done a lot of business courses, and the ones that I'm able to really follow through with are always the ones that are live, where you can interact, not just even with the teachers that are there, but with other students. Exactly. I actually have wound up getting business from attending some of these courses, because I'll speak and then someone will say, I think I need to hire you for this, that, and a third, What did you say your website was again? And I'm not there trying to pitch business. I'm just trying to learn. But I think it really does afford you that, in school, that in-person kind of opportunity to maybe ask questions live. I mean, that's just priceless. So before we go more into your course, because I want to know the pricing and stuff, I know you've got some new exciting announcements behind that.
Sure.
I would love to be able to give a quick financial literacy 101 to the people that listen to us and watch us. Okay. Can we talk about how you can start saving and investing? Is there a minimum amount? How should you approach it? Where should your mindset be? A lot of people say, I can't afford it. How do we go around that and tell people that you actually can invest in yourself and you can learn to change your lifestyle accordingly?
Absolutely. Well, the most important thing, and you guys mentioned it a little earlier, if there's a will, there's a way, right? So you must make the way for yourself. And you don't need to think that I don't have, like you said, you didn't have that big account anymore. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to do this? It's like, you either do one or two things, like you said, right? He basically told you to buy fractional shares of something, at least get in the game somehow, participate at the level that you can. And if you feel that there's some investment you want to get into and you need the money for it, save for it. I mean, that's the first level of discipline, because investment requires discipline, and whether you're investing for the short term or long term, you have to have discipline. So if you don't even have the discipline to save money, to say, okay, let me make sure I have enough to afford this course, or make sure I have enough to put into this type of investment, then you're not ready. That's the first aspect of it. So that's the first part of it. I would say the most crucial thing is knowing that you have to be able to save for that thing. And
okay. And can we go just a little bit further into that? For one that has never saved money, how do you suggest doing that? Should we put money, you know, take $100 each paycheck and put it under the mattress and just like stack that bag up? Or?
Right. You know, some people have like this whole formula of how you should save and what you should invest. And even when I was advisor, you know, we used to tell people like you have to look at your age and use the number 100 as your benchmark. And so you're going to minus your age from the 100. So I'm going to be 40. And so 40% of my investments are going to be safe and 60% are going to be aggressive. That was a formula that we used to use. So we know that. So sometimes we use the same thing for your saving. Whatever excess you may have, you may want to consider, you know, that taking 40%, 60%, or some say there's a 20% rule. Personally, I believe that, you know, a person should set aside what they can afford to set aside, and think of it as nothing more than a light bill. I think that at minimum, at a light bill or a phone bill, which is average between $50, $60, if you can put that a month and just wait for a year, you know, $50 at the end of the year, you have $600 to work with. You could do a lot with $600 in the market. You know, some people today, if I put it in an Apple put that I wanted to do, that $600 could have made me $4,000. You know, so that's because I know what I'm doing with it, right? But yeah, so it really doesn't take much. It really just requires the knowledge. So you really just have to be able to say, what is it that I want to start with? That's where I would go. And in terms of what they want to save, I don't think there's any true magical formula. Just think of it as nothing more than the necessity of life. You can't get back what you put into the light bill or the gas bill, or if you pay, you know, Con Ed or whoever, you don't get that back. Some people are like, I want to be debt free. That's impossible. You're always going to have to pay something. So think of it the same thing. Pay yourself, you know, pay yourself too. And part of paying yourself is saying that I'm going to, you know,
pay yourself. I absolutely love that.
Yep.
And then when it comes to investing, how would one get started? What should they learn first and foremost? We get a lot of people that come into BISG group and they say, how do I get started?
Okay. So, you know, that's a loaded question because
it is.
and I'll tell you why it's a loaded question. Because that encompasses so much, you know. When it comes to investing, I would say first and foremost, knowledge is key, you know, and this is why the iNet Academy is what it is. It's for teaching. You know, our slogan is, you know, increase in knowledge, increase your worth. And that is so important. People have no idea how crucial it is. Information about what it is that you're trying to do is important. Like I just mentioned, if you know what to do with $600 to turn it into $4,000, that came from knowledge. If I don't have that knowledge, it doesn't matter what you have that $600. You can put it in the bank. They're going to give you 0.01% interest. You know, you can say, well, my cousin said he got a sure thing. There's a bet over here.
Oh, not the short thing.
Yeah,
right. You know, Atlantic City, you know, whatever it might be, like.
Right.
You know, but that's not going to work. Like you have to have, first of all, most, you know, first and foremost, the knowledge of what it is that you're getting yourself into, and knowing that you don't know. And some people are very proud, you know, and they don't want to admit that part and just say, you know what, I need to know more and I need to do better. In order for you to do better, they say you got to know better to do better. Right. And I'm sorry for using all these cliches, but it's true.
No,
you know,
okay.
Honestly.
So it really starts with that. Like I go to church and I read Proverbs, right? It's in the Bible. And Proverbs talks about wisdom, and it talks about the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. But it talks about wisdom being the key to everything. Wisdom is the key to your success, is the key to wealth, it's the key to riches. You know, it talks about, you know, without knowledge, people perish. I mean, all these different things goes right back to that information, even down to Adam and Eve. They ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Like, you know, so something there was still linked to information. And when we look at it from that perspective, it's like information can be so, you know, fruitful, but it could also be deadly in some instances too. So, but that's why it's important to know that and knowing the right type of information. So that's why it's important to drown out the noise of all the gurus and everybody else there, because if you're not getting the right information, you're going to eat that poison fruit, and then it's over.
Right. But, and there is a lot of bad information.
A lot of bad information.
in all areas, you know, and scamming is a whole new industry at this point. There's scams in every single field and every market. So
come get your car warranty rebate every day that you get 5 calls. So
scam likely. Scam likely is at an all-time high. So it's important that you turn to reputable individuals like yourself and, you know, courses like the ones that you have put together so meticulously. So tell everyone how they can sign up for High Net Academy, and what can we talk about the costs and how long the course is and what people will be able to get from it, how often you know the class happens each week, etc.
Okay, well they can sign up at highnetacademy.com. So it's very, very simple. You can see what courses are available. They're not weekly because they run in a 4-week sequence. But based on schedule, you can see when the next schedule of courses will be available and sign up for that. You just click enroll. The cost of the course is $397, except for the business masterclass, that's $497, and that one's a little different because that one comes with a whole slew of things that you and I haven't even had a chance to discuss, because that's really for somebody who's looking to start a business, don't know how to start a business. And we basically pre-packaged everything into something called Startup Hub 360. And it comes with your business plan pre-written, all the financial legal documents for that business. Everything you can think of that business needs has already been done.
Wait.
Telling this to me.
That's a whole different.
Did you just say your business plan pre-written?
Pre-written for that business. There are over 360 businesses. That's why it's called Startup Hub 360. All plus it being a play on word for it to be all around, all inclusive for everything that you need for that business. And so we do the masterclass with that box where you basically say, this is a type of business, the plan is done, you come to the course, your whole business plan, everything is done, the legal documents for it is done, everything. And you're just there to learn now about the business. We're going to teach you end to end.
That's amazing.
The difference between, S Corp, C Corp, LLC, partnerships, what does it mean? So that way, when you register the business, you'll be under the right thing, understanding what a flow through business is, or the tax treatments, and then understanding marketing and strategies. And we built it out from there. That's a massive course that's, we're actually going to be doing one in August live. A friend of mine, she asked me to do it in August. I can't remember what date it was. I should have. I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but I'm sorry. But I'll post that up there.
We talk about everything on VPR, Mr. Thompson. You should have been ready.
A lot going on. But yeah, that class is the only one that's $497, or that course, I should say, when it's done through virtual.
So these are really affordable, right?
Yeah, they're quite affordable, and I know we payment. Yeah.
Right. What if I don't have $397? What if I could only put like $100 on it?
Well, it's funny.
What's up with that?
Well, as of today, we now can do payment plans. We signed up with Sezzle, I think you said, for Sezzle, or for Sezzle, as you know,
right.
It's Sezzle, Sezzle. And they allow you to do payment plans. You would just select that as the payment option, and you would set up a Sezzle account. It's interest-free. You'll be paying Sezzle based on the terms, whether it be bi-weekly or monthly, I don't know, whatever terms they offer you. And the best part is that it's interest-free and it doesn't affect your credit because it's not really necessarily based on credit. So they do a soft inquiry on your credit score, so it's not a hard hit or anything of that nature, and you don't have to worry about it messing up your credit or them judging you based on that. So it's really great. So now it's affordable, and you can set the payment terms and still get into the course even if you can't come up with the $397 right away.
Right. So that's perfect. There's no excuse, right?
There's no excuse.
$397 is separating you from millions that you're gonna make for yourself. Don't let it be the entry to stop you. Because if you can't put $397, especially after COVID, everybody been doing your LPP, whatever loans. I ain't knocking you now.
No, PPP loans.
How to make that money after this pandemic stop? You can make that money for yourself and not have to worry about anything else.
Put that stimulus check to work, right?
Yeah, that's 100% what it is now.
Exactly. That was $1,400 for the stimulus check, right? So it still leaves you $1,000 to invest with after you take that course, right? So it's worth it.
Look at that.
Definitely worthwhile.
And at least you'll know how to flip that $1,000 multiple ways. Yeah.
Right. And don't we all want to know how to make our money work for us? I mean, I think that's when you really start making some big changes for your life and for the life of your children and your children's children and so on and so forth. This is about creating that generational wealth and getting out of that impoverished mindset. You know, I love what you're doing. Tell everyone again where they can sign up, how they can follow you on Instagram, and get in touch with you if they have any questions about the program.
Absolutely. Again, they can sign up for the courses on HighNetAcademy.com. You can find us at HighNet Academy on Instagram and Twitter. And, you know, connect with us there, follow us, send DMs, we answer. We also do our, you know, daily HighNet Academy live, usually around 8 o'clock, you know, Monday to Friday. Each day is a theme. So yesterday we did Wealth Wednesday. Today is going to be Tech Thursday, but it's going to be something involved in investing. But they have different themes. There's a Money Monday, Tip Tuesday, Wealth Wednesday, Tech Thursday, and then Freebie Friday, where we actually do a little mini course that we teach you.
These names. I am here for all of these names.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like,
and you're really giving back in a big way. That's a lot of information. People don't understand. This man went to school for years. Like, you know, FMI, how people will try to leech information out of you. He's giving that information away. You guys better go get those gems and nuggets. Follow him on HighNet Academy. Sign up to get the course if you're serious about learning how to invest or how to create your own business, or you just want an opportunity to earn some additional income and you need another skill that will help you not have to work so hard. Make your money work for you.
Make money for you.
Absolutely. You got to put money to work.
That's right. Put that money on a stroll. Okay.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I want to give a special thank you to Kevin Thompson for just gracing us on this Thursday with positive energy and so much information that I'm going to refer a lot of people to you. Personally, I'm going to refer a lot of people to you because I feel like what you're doing is amazing and it's going to be the key to a lot of great, successful stories. So my hat's off to you, man.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Yes, indeed. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Kevin. We're looking forward to having you back. That's HighNetAcademy.com. Make sure you guys go and check it out. We appreciate you too. Have a wonderful day.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Ciao. Wonderful, wonderful. I hope you guys are sharing or running it back, taking that information, figuring out how you can start to create a real, secure financial future for yourself. You have the ability to do it. It's in you. Take a couple dollars, put it to the side. You know what I mean? Don't buy that bottle of wine. I've had to do it. I'm not going to buy that bottle of wine. Put that money to the side.
Don't wait till November and then buy TVs. Forget Black Friday.
Forget Black Friday.
Monday, bro. Instead of buying all those products, just invest in the company. Instead of buying the LG TV, invest in LG if it makes sense for you. Right. Instead of getting something on Apple, invest in Apple if it makes sense to you. Aren't you tired of giving your money?
I finally had to grab some Apple stock, bro. I own too many Apple products now. I was like, I need some of those shares, boo.
Kiana,
run those shares.
VPR, I'm going to be so honest with you, all right? I really don't care for sneakers. I think they're dope, whatever the case. I won't go out of my way to spend $400 to $300 on a sneaker. It's just not me. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather invest it. To the point where I raffled for these Yeezys. I did not win. I got so mad that the same money I was going to pay for those Yeezys, I went and got stocks in. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Take it out in that way so the money can come back. You know what I mean?
So it could come back to you. And, put that money on the strip, baby. We need to put that money to work.
Okay, I'm going to own that somewhere, somehow. VPR, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tune in every week. Thursdays, we're here at 2 p.m.
We'll be back next week, you guys. You know that we're going to bring you the best guests, the best music, and the greatest energy, and we're going to keep it really, really positive. So we love you for watching. We love you for listening. We appreciate when you share. We appreciate when you subscribe and when you tune in and engage with us. Make sure that you join us in our VPR group as well, and on Instagram and all major social media at VPR_radio. And you got to follow my bro, DJ FMI, because he's the littest. He keeps us on tilt. Yalla.
That's how I'm feeling. VPR, make sure you have a good day. Kiana, all love.
Always, bro. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao.